All right, 1, 2.
For certain props, there's a mindset you achieve called the flow. And when you get in this flow, it's basically the mindset where you have to focus on what you're doing because it's all fine-tuned muscle movement and you're in the flow.
You just enter this state where you don't have to think, you don't have to just memorize anything, you just go with what's happening.
I started performing several years ago when a friend of mine who worked at the Renaissance Festival, he did a contact juggling act and wanted a drummer and maybe someone to do contact juggling with him. And I said, hey man, I do both those things. Maybe I'll come out, make some tips with you. And it started really slow and I made only a little bit of money, but at the time I was like, oh my God, I'm making money doing really fun stuff. I should just do more of this.
Originally I was a photographer and I was doing photography at a bar for my friend. He came up to me one night and said, hey, here's a fire staff. And he's like, here, do you want to play with this? And I'm like, sure. And then he asked me later on if I can make him one. And so I said, sure, I'll see what I can do. And I made him one. And he never paid me for it. And then so I had a fire staff and I was just like, hey, I should start learning how to do fire staff. And that's how I started my company, Liquid Fire Gear. Me and my friend decided we needed something closer to home, something that had a lot more mirrors and a lot more like padding. So we figured a dojo would be a perfect place to have that. And we found Ann Arbor Martial Arts College.
I wanted to establish a place where me and my friends could get together and we would just rock out our props or our acrobatics or whatever once a week. I remember the first day was about 6 or 7 of us. Next week was, like 6 or 7. The next week was like 10. And the next thing I know, like I turn around, I'm looking around the Flojo, and I'm like, you can barely move in here. There's like 40 people, and plus they're all spinning something.
I got involved with Flojo really early on. What brings me back here every week is the opportunity to keep growing in my knowledge of my craft. Poi is essentially a counterweighted object. It has a weight at one end at least, if not a weight at both. They're swung around and you make geometric patterns with them.
The process for the fire breathing is you put lamp oil in your mouth and you spit it out like on or above the flame and it just ignites. You have to be careful when you're doing that because it can come back into your lungs. What I get out of performing is just this sense of doing something awesome that I love to do and that I will do it until I die.
I really get the satisfaction of knowing that I improved when I perform and I finally feel like I've accomplished something in my life. It's a really great way to be active and also like express yourself through movement.
It's such a big part of my life. I'd be sad if I couldn't do it anymore.
There is no other way into this lifestyle other than just getting up and doing it.
The advice I give to any people that want to get involved in performance art is probably the same advice I would give someone who is not sure if they want to get into anything. That advice would be, if you love it, do it. Do what you love what you do.